Hey, what is going on, guys? So today we're going to be taking a look at the most recent Star Wars The Black Series figure set I've picked up here. We finally have the 3-pack from the Phantom Menace. Of course, this does have the Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Qui-Gon Jinn, and of course the new Darth Maul. So stoked to finally have this set. As you can see, the packaging there, I think they've done a pretty great job with the display of the box there itself. Some really nice artwork down the side, and of course that follows as per usual to the back of the packaging, which I think looks great there also. I really do like the way these figures do look in the box there. The bio on the back there, as we do always get. And no number for this one, as of course it is the 3-pack for these figures. And here we do have a shot of the figures in the tray out of the packaging. A bit better of a view of these figures and everything they do come with. Again, I think these figures just do look really great there. Apologies also on the outside noise, trying my best to work around that for you guys. Really cool to also see the more consistency on the robes with the Jedi. And here we do have the figures out of the plastic and lined up as we do with the accessories out front. Of course, all these figures do just come with the lightsaber each, disincluding their individual robes, which we'll get into in a bit. Not sure if they are all updated. Of course, it does look like Maul's saber is updated there. Really nice colors on all of these hilts. Really vibrant with the paints there. The silvers do really pop. And of course, they do all have their unique blade colors, and all the lightsaber blades do come out of the hilts. And just like all the other Maul sabers we have got, it does separate into 2 sabers there. It does have the unique shape peg, so you can of course connect these sabers in the correct way. But just some great detail pieces and a really great sculpt of the hilts there. Taking a look at the figures themselves, starting off with the Qui-Gon Jinn. This is a re-release of the Qui-Gon that we do already have. There might be slightly different paint on there, and maybe a few updated details, but overall the same figure. And then we do have the Maul also. This one is a complete new figure. Really great looking head sculpt on this one. Really glad they finally updated that figure. And then the Obi-Wan Kenobi also. Again, a re-release of the existing figure, which was also archived. I do have an archived version on the way, as I do also have another Maul coming, so I can display those 2 separately without the robes. The hood sits really well on the Maul cloak. The detail and the sewing done on the cloak itself does look really great. I'm really liking what I'm seeing from this Maul here. Even the robes that come on both the Jedi, I really like what they've done there. For the most part, they do sit quite well, and you can get those hoods to really sit down and not bunch up too much in the back of the figure. But I'm really liking the way this whole cloak look is sitting on the Maul there. Really glad they finally re-released this figure, and of course given us updated cloaks for all of these figures. More things like this in these sort of 3-packs I think is what we need in the line. And for the most part, these older figures do hold up. Of course, it would have been nice to get an updated version, more so of the Qui-Gon, but also of the Obi-Wan. I think that really would have put this set over the edge. But as mentioned, it was really just that Maul that did need a definitive upgrade. As mentioned, this is the 3rd time we are getting the Episode 1 Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like I said though, this is the first time I'm getting this figure, and I think it is looking really great there. Does have the butterfly joints in the shoulders, which is good to see. And I think that head scan is really great on the Obi-Wan. But the main event, of course, of this pack, the one that we all want to see, is the new updated Maul. Such a great head sculpt on this figure. Really great sculpt work on the robes for this figure, allowing a lot of articulation to come through, as we'll see in a minute. But I really do love the paintwork and the details that they've done on the face sculpt of this figure. As mentioned, moving on to the articulation on this Maul here. This one does, of course, have those butterfly joints in the shoulders. And the elbows do have a single cut, but you can get deeper than 90-degree angle. As you can see there, with his hands in a pose as if they'd be holding the saber. Can get them pretty close together, which is great. The legs can kick forward 90 degrees. And you can also get a 90-degree cut out of the single hinge knee there. And something really cool about this figure is that the wrists are actually on a ball peg. So you'll see that shortly, how you can get a little bit more movement out of them. Of course, benefit being you can hit different poses and ways you want to move the wrist instead of just the standard across or up and down. And here I have Maul in a bit of an action pose. As you can see, you can get some really great articulation out of this one. I would like to display this figure like this, but this one will be having the robe go straight back onto him. And the single release version I do get will be battling the Obi-Wan, the archive version. And as I mentioned before, the wrist does have that added articulation being on that ball point. You can see there how much more movement and options you do get just from having that extra articulation. So I think that's really great, and I do hope we do get more wrists like this in the future. The only thing worth noting is the robe is quite hard to get on and off on the Qui-Gon, just because it does have that old sculpt on the sleeves of the robes. You will still be able to get it on and off the figure. It's just not something I'd recommend doing too many times. And that's why, like I said, overall, I'm just going to get 2 versions of these figures. We'll say the same sort of thing with the Maul, more so with the horns on the head. They are quite sharp and do get caught on the robe when you are trying to put it back onto the figure. So just be careful of that, because of course you don't want to puncture the hood of the robe and stretch it out or rip it or anything. But man, I think they've done a really great job with this set. I really do like the addition of these soft good robes. Of course, in a perfect world, we would get some wires or something like that in these robes. And it would be something I'd be open to. I'd be happy to pay more for the figures, like a few other people have said in the Black Series community. We wouldn't mind paying more for certain figures if the value is there. And something like wired robes would really set these figures apart from others. But that would just about do it for this one, guys. Like I said, I'm really stoked to finally get this set. I think this one has turned out really well. Like I said specifically, I think the cloaks have turned out really good for all of these figures. But overall, guys, I do recommend this one. As always, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.